Christianity would not have spread so rapidly if it hadn't been for engineers. That's right. The people that Christians should be thanking are nerds. Roman nerds. Roman engineers, in fact. The guys who built the roads. And as the saying goes, all roads lead to Rome. By the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was in a state of decline, though its military might was as strong as ever. This was a result of the choices made by the 7 good emperors, as they are known, who consolidated their power by aligning themselves with the military commanders. This led to conflicts throughout the empire and instability within many of the provinces. And, historically, in times of instability, conflict, plague, famine, war, disease, people tend to turn towards religion. This is not uncommon, nor to be unexpected. Indeed, when the Emperor Hadrian ordered the Hellenization of Judea in 130 AD, instead of assimilating the civic and religious society into Roman society, as he had done in both Greece and Egypt, what he found instead was an increased resistance to Roman society by the monotheistic cults in Judea and Palestine. Several bloody years of conflict and rebellion followed, led by a man named Simon ben Kokhba, who was eventually killed in the revolution. Roman losses were quite severe, although Jewish losses are estimated at over 580,000 dead, and over 1,000 villages and towns completely destroyed. This led to a mass exodus from Judea of both Jewish and other religious cults. Chiefly amongst these refugees fleeing the destruction of Palestine and Judea were many Christian communities, although they were not specifically targeted for persecution. A migration of sorts took place utilizing the Roman road system. Bands of Christians traveled from town to town, hoping to be welcomed into a local church and community. This influx led to an important change: the increased power and election of bishops and the lessening power of presbyters, or the council. Bishops were better able to organize churches and to send out missionaries, again, utilizing the Roman road system. They could also provide letters of introduction to the local churches and the bishops there on behalf of the refugees or the pilgrims. By the 3rd century, the ability to elect bishops had been placed squarely in the hands of the clergy and taken from the hands of the people. This was due out of political necessity, as the amount of refugees entering the local churches were bolstering the community with foreign politics. If the current regime wished to stay in power, then the ability to elect bishops must be taken from the hands of the people and placed in the hands of the clergy. In return, the bishop could then ordain clergy, who would in turn elect him as the bishop or elect others of that same ruling political class. Thus, the circle of self-sustaining power was created. In the 3rd century, Rome had a growing Christian community that was also increasing in strength as hierarchies were formed. Despite stories to the contrary, persecution was actually scarce and very infrequent, although the Christian communities were viewed with mistrust. After all, they were monotheistic and therefore not patriotic. The spread, therefore, while wide, was not great in numbers. Up until the Edict of Milan, Christianity was just another fringe cult in the vast empire. Indeed, even after Constantine, Christianity really didn't take off that fast, as it still had to compete with numerous other very successful cults in the empire. But in 380 AD, Christianity was made the state religion by Theodosius I. This is where things really took off. Now, Theodosius was influenced by Ambrose, the Bishop of Milan. who was a champion of Christianity and a very dangerous man. Under Ambrose's tutelage, Theodosius banned the Vestal fires and emptied the treasuries of the temples, turning over the treasures of the pagan world to the Christian church. It is again important to stress that at this time there was no concept of separation of church and state. The state was the church and the church was the state. And to go against one was to go against the other, vice versa. This is how Christianity spread so rapidly and so greatly. It was the state religion. But it wasn't just only Christianity being the state religion. There were a number of variables that, when added together, nicely demonstrate the inevitability of Christian dominance in the Western world. These variables were an advanced road system, incredible shipping routes, a strong military, a salvation creed, and a promise of eternity in an afterlife. But some people might ask, what do a road system and a salvation creed have to do with each other? Well, you have to remember the times that these people lived in. There was no freeway system or GPS. Thieves and bandits roamed the roads in unpatrolled territories. The life expectancy generally was less than 50 years old. In other words, life kind of sucked for these people, especially if you were poor or a slave. Then your life expectancy was about 20 years. So how do these tie together? Well, the Roman Empire had over 400,000 kilometers of well-made roads. And in comparison, the United States has only 253,000 kilometers of highways. The Roman Empire, therefore, was a vastly well-connected system of roads, able to move people and supplies from one side to the other. But they also had an expansive shipping system throughout the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. Where Roman roads couldn't go, merchants could, trading through the empire and faraway lands, including a trade envoy to China in 160 AD. Merchants not only traded cargo, but slaves as well, mixing populations that would not normally meet. Missionaries would also travel with these merchants, gambling their lives out at sea in the hopes of winning souls for their own particular cult. Merchants weren't the only people that were utilizing the shipping routes and roads. Indeed, the road system itself was built entirely for the Roman army in order to go from one province to the other. It was estimated that at the height of the Roman road system, the armies could mobilize at nearly twice the speed of a warring army, almost entirely dependent on how the Roman road system facilitated ease of travel. The Roman army was open to most people, and many Christians enlisted or were conscripted. The army itself was a vast cauldron of multiculturalism, with ethnicities and religions from all over the empire. And religions, for the most part, were relatively tolerated. And in this, Christianity was allowed to flourish. And flourish it did. Christianity could offer something that pagan religions really couldn't: a personal relationship with their God and the chance at immortality. In Roman culture, when a person died, they went to Hades. Now, if they lived a virtuous life, then they could look forward to the Elysian Fields, a place of rest and comfort. However, if they did not lead a virtuous life, torments would await them. Only the most heroic of figures could ever hope to ascend into heaven and live amongst the gods in glory and power and prestige. This was a fate that most men could not even hope to achieve. Christianity changed all that, offering the chance for their people to live with their God in glory for all eternity. Understandably, it had universal appeal. So when we think of the early rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire, it is important to keep these facts in mind. It was not some miraculous, against the odds ascent into power and glory, but rather it was a gradual and yet inevitable push towards religious power. And again, thank you for watching. Hey guys, thank you for sticking around and watching my video. I really hoped you enjoyed this one. It actually took a lot to complete this video. I had to shoot it several times because of bad lighting, bad camera, bad editing, a lot of mistakes on my part. So thank you for sticking around and watching this video. And if you've made it this far, I would like you to check out a channel for me, Bert Poole. He's an awesome commentator on the Great Debate Society. I'll let you guys see for yourself the kind of character that he is. But he has this wonderful series called Welcome to My Bubble. And I only recently found him, oh gosh, about a month or so ago. But I love his channel, I love what he's doing, and I love the people that he brings on. And they're so varied from across the different positions in the Great Debate community. And he has wonderful philosophical and theological discussions with people. So by all means, if you enjoy that kind of content and topics, check out Bert Poole. I will leave a description of his channel and a link, in the description down below. So please go there, subscribe to him, tell him I said hi, and once again, thank you for watching these videos, and thank you for sticking by me, as always. Have a good one. I do a lot of this when I talk, notice. I do a lot of like as a result of fuck. Jesus Christ. Alright. Oh, fuck. Due to the influx of refugees, refugees? Just refugees. Refugees. What the fuck am I? A broken recorder? Jesus. Fuck. Highways, high roads, high marsh. The fuck me redo that shit. Hell.